Welcome back to the Table Rush Talk Show, where we dive deep into the world of entrepreneurship, marketing, and personal growth. Today, we're leaning into the theme of emotional breakthroughs and focused growth. I'm your host, Misha Zvagintsoff, and my guest today is someone who embodies raw transformation and high performance focus. David Wood, aka Davo, is a former Park Avenue consultant actuary turned laser focused coach who built one of the world's largest coaching businesses, even hitting #1 on Google for life coaching. Davo's helped thousands of entrepreneurs double their revenue by focusing on less, and he's not afraid to go deep. This is a guy who survived a near death paraglider crash, overcame early tragedy, and wrote a book on tough conversations, Mouse in the Room. Buckle up because David brings a rare mix of emotional truth and tactical brilliance. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Misha.
Great to have you here. My gosh, tongue twisters this morning. It's I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But let's kick things off bold and direct. Davo, you're known as the focus guy who promises to double revenue by focusing on less. What do you actually do for people, and why does it matter so much? What's the big promise behind your work?
Well, promise is a strong word as a coach, right? If you start taking responsibility for everyone's results, I have enough trouble taking responsibility for my own. But what gets me excited about focus is the fact that my natural tendency is to be scattered. I think the human mind is like a monkey on crack. It's incredible. And 200 years ago, it may have been like this, but I think it's getting worse and worse with all the input that we want. I can have 4 channels going at once, text messages and emails and someone calling me. And that's without my own mind telling me to go and check Amazon and handle this and handle that. So I'm a fan of intentionality. I'm a fan of saying, what do I really, really care about this year? Do I want to be busy and just be really busy and have adrenaline and dopamine and think hopefully I did something at the end of the day? Or do I want to set goals and say, I'm going to nail those? And I'm not saying you have to do either one, but if you're interested in really choosing goals that light you up and getting there faster, I can help you with that because I tend to be really good at making things happen in time and space. And the key for me is work out what you're going to focus on, what you're going to say no to, and when you're going to be hyper-focused and when you're not. And let's nail it. So at the end of the day, you said, I'm going to do this. This is what matters. And I got like 85, 90% of that versus I've got more than I can possibly handle. And I'm going to stay really busy and I'm going to feel swamped and overloaded at the end of the day and like I didn't get a thing done. I'm not a fan of that.
Sounds like we had a little framework in there. What are we going to focus on? When are we going to focus on it? What did you say there?
Well, I said, first, what do I care about? So do I have a big result that I care about? Some people haven't gotten clear on that. So I start there with them. Like, what's success look like a year from now? They would have you do the happy dance. We've got to know that. If we don't have that, there's no reason to say no to things. And I like to gamify life over different time periods. One is a year. The next one is a month. No, sorry. The next one I do is a week. Then the next one is a day. And then we get down really granular to 25 minutes. But if you haven't chosen what really matters, you've got no reason to say no to people or even to yourself. You just stay swamped. But if you're on target, you're like, sorry, can't help you there. I got to push that back. I've got commitments to myself. I'm playing a game. And if I say yes to you right now, I'm going to fail. I'm going to lose the game.
I want to skip ahead to my questions, but I'm going to heck with it.
Great.
So people, you must get pushback from people who you're like, let's pick that goal. What do you want to focus on? What is the thing? What's your thing? or what's that calling? So many different words for it, but people go, no, I don't like that. I don't want that. That scares them. Does that question make sense?
It can be confronting. Yeah, it's a lot easier to talk about what you don't want. And actually, if it's okay, I want to jump back and answer your question. I don't have a promise, but the people who come to me usually want to achieve a lot more than they're doing. They want a faster result, and they come to me for support in doing that. Usually, the result they want is they want twice as much money. Like, who doesn't want to double revenue? So we usually put that on the table, say, let's start with that. Some of them want more time off. Great. Let's have you 4x your productivity so that you're actually getting way more done in half the time. And that's where we start. But that's just how I get people in the door. Don't tell anybody. But what I really care about is people loving their life and having a really good time. So while we're at it, we'll often end up on how you're sleeping and are you taking care of your body and how's your relationship with your kids. And that stuff will come in. And as we handle that, they can actually produce even more. So don't tell anybody, but my secret agenda is to have you love your life. And I can promise life will be better if we work together.
Well, that's beautiful. Okay, so number one, what do we care about? You help suss that out. Then
Right,
there was,
right.
yep,
You said pushback, right?
yeah,
So it is confronting because you can talk about what you don't want till the cows come home. But what do you want takes a little bit more effort and generation. Now, when people usually want to start with me, I say, well, I've got a really good intake form that will help you get clear on what matters to you. And I'll ask you some questions like, okay, what do you want to achieve in a year? What's challenging you? What's your favorite form of self-sabotage? It's really good. And I'm happy to give away that form to listeners. It's a starting point. Whether you want to work with me or not, I think you should go and take the business quiz, business and life assessment, and that'll help you get clear. People do push back, one, because of confusion, like, I don't know. Okay, so we've got to dig a little bit, find out what matters to you. Some people are concerned if they actually set goals, what if I fail at it? What if I say this matters and every day I work towards it and I don't do it? I might feel lousy. Yeah, possibly. So then we might have to look at commitment versus attachment. Can you commit to something and not be attached to the goal? You show up and you do your half every single day. Universe has to do its half as well, but you don't control that. So sometimes, I think you hit the nail on the head, Misha. Sometimes there's some mindset that's required for people to be able to really get behind their goals and say, I'm going to nail this year.
yeah. If you can get into that commitment headspace or mindset too, where you're really embracing the journey, it's such a better way to live anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So what do I care about was the first thing. Then you said three or four things. What do you care about? When are we going to do it? What was the,
Yeah.
you-
I don't remember exactly those steps, but once we know what you care about, you're probably going to have to say no to some stuff. So for a year, you might say, this is what really matters. And this is what I'll say no to prioritize that. So for example, I own property in Australia, but I don't own my own home in the US. And I really want to. I really want to. And the more I work on it, the more I want it with a pickleball court, if that's not too much to ask. If it has a creek, that's a bonus. But to have that, what will I say no to? Well, I'm saying no to travel. I haven't been on a plane in a year and a half. I'm saying no to um, a lot of time off. I'm actually working harder than I normally would. I'm saying no to the piano and the guitar, which I'd like to develop. That'd be fun. So you might say no to 3 hours of television or something. I've heard it said that your not to-do list is more important than your to-do list. But you got to start with you got to have different time frames, and there are four. First one is a year. Now, when you break it down and you say, all right, what about a week? Okay, that's getting real. That's like 52 times more granular than a year. So you work out what matters. I've got 50 things I want to do. I cannot do them all. So what will I commit to that will be on my must-do list? What's on my, say, a bonus list? And the rest has got to go on a later list. Hey, I'm going to be honest, I can't do it. And that's part of what you agree not to do. That might be stuff that's not time sensitive, or it's not important. It's not going to move the needle. You want to do it, but I'm not going to do it next week. This is focus. You say you're going to focus on everything, you've focused on nothing, right?
Yeah. I'm thinking, sounds a little bit like sacrifice. Anybody listening, watching right now, by the way, can go to it's Focus CEO /quiz. Focus
Yeah.
CEO
There's a dot in
/
there.
quiz.
Focus.ceo instead of the .com.
Yeah.
Focus.ceo/quiz. That'll get
Yeah.
you the free assessment.
Yes. I wanted to make sure we hit that. Is there a way to reframe? That sounds like people are listening to this and going, man, I'm going to have to make all these sacrifices. Is there a way to reframe that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, firstly, what a smart question. How do I reframe it? The way reframe I would say is you're sacrificing already. You're by allowing yourself this freedom, and I'm doing air quotes now, this freedom to do whatever you want. You're sacrificing peace. You're sacrificing income. You're sacrificing the goals that you have decided are really important. So we're already sacrificing. We're just not aware of it. I wouldn't call it sacrifice to focus. There's a discipline and a freedom that happens. The only reason the top soccer players get to be top soccer players, and I'm maybe dating myself by saying David Beckham, is because of the lines on the field. If there were no lines on the field and no rules for the game, he couldn't be excellent. When you say, I'm going to focus on what matters, and then you nail that every day, there's such a freedom in that. You don't have to be distressed, bouncing around, chopping around. It's not a sacrifice for me not to travel because it's not a priority. I don't need to travel. I actually like where I am. It's not a sacrifice for me not to play the piano, and it's not a sacrifice to not watch 3 or 4 hours of TV every night. To watch no TV might be a sacrifice, but I get a couple of episodes in. So I don't think you need to sacrifice at all. It's more about discernment. What do I really care about? And am I actually willing to make that a priority? You may say no, and that's fine. I got no quarrel with that. But if you decide that might be a more fun game, to say this matters, I'm going to double revenue, triple revenue over this time frame, or I'm going to spend more time with my kids, or I'm going to finally learn Russian, or I'm going to create that product that no one else has ever created that's going to serve the world, and you decide you're going to get behind it, I'm a good guy to talk to because I get excited about that. I'm like, all right, I will help you focus. I'll help you develop systems to stay on track. Let's nail it and have a good time while you're doing it.
So fun. I had a coach at one point who I was always talking about fun. I think fun's important. He says, no one cares about fun. I don't believe that. I believe a lot of people care about fun. A lot of people we want to do this, and why not have fun?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Go.
Well, I like to talk about gamification because, I set this goal of owning a house. And so I realized, all right, I'm going to have to work harder. I'm going to have to coach more. I got to do this. And I was doing some marketing, and I realized this is not fun for me. If I'm going to do it, it's got to be a good time. Now I've got a side business. I got a couple. I'm an actor in my spare time. I went to Hollywood for 1.5 years and focused on that for 1.5 years. And recently I discovered pickleball, and I train 5 days a week in pickleball because I want to turn senior pro. And then I decided to coach pickleball. And within like the first 4 weeks, I had 20 clients doing boot camps. And I realized this is fun for me. I'm creating new things. I created a new boot camp structure. I'm reaching out to people. And that's when I realized work needs to be fun. And so find a way to gamify it. Now, one way to gamify it is to set targets and then set rules for yourself. So let's say we're at the weekly game and it's Friday, 4 o'clock, and I'm planning for next week. This is my commitment list, must do. Maybe there's a penalty if I don't do them. $5 to my ex-girlfriend is a really fun, easy penalty, and it gets your attention. If I don't do each one of these, it's $5 per issue per day that it's late, right? And then you've got a game now, and you've got a list of things that you're not allowed to do. The things on your hope list, you get to pull those out of the drawer if you nail the first list. So you've got a bit of a game with yourself. All right, I'm going to nail these. And then if I get it done, I can pull out of the drawer something bonus and I can be extra productive. I think that's fun. Do the same thing for a daily plan. And I know I'm throwing a lot out right now. I don't expect listeners to listen to this and go and implement it all at once. With my clients, it usually takes a couple of months to bring them all in and to work out where they're falling off the horse, and then we get back on. But when you get down to, say, your 25-minute game, which is the Pomodoro technique for people who are fans of that, that's a game. I write down, this is the exact task that I'm going to complete. Not I'm going to work on it. I'm going to complete 2 pages of the report, 25 minutes, all notifications turned off, timer on, go. You can't pass go. You can't collect $200. There's no distraction possible. I can't take a phone call or I'm going to lose the game. When 25 minutes goes off, you must step away from the desk. You've only got 25 minutes, so you've got to be accountable. Damn it. I didn't get it done. I'm so close. You've got a game. And then you set the timer for 5 minutes. Go and do some push-ups. Go and get your cup of tea. Go and walk around the house, play with the dog. Timer goes off. Back to it. That's fun for me. It's way more fun than sitting at a desk for 3 hours, staying tunnel vision on something, which I want to do because I'm a bit OCD. But then at the end of it, I'm just burned out and exhausted. So we want to gamify it, get that body moving. I got one client who'll do 8 hours in a sitting. That's his MO. And I'm trying to get him now, every 25 minutes, you're going to move that body. Stop having your brain dominate your body, and get a little bit of balance in there. And I'm waiting to hear back on how he's doing, but I'm hoping he's going to come back with, at the end of the day now, I feel really great and proud of myself versus, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I need to lay down and drink at the same time.
Yeah, and ignore my family or whatever it is.
Right. Because I'm burned out.
Every game-changing entrepreneur has that one breakthrough moment where everything changed or changes. You had a high-flying corporate career and then life smacked you upside the head. I'm talking about that emotional, I try not to swear, but that bitch slap moment that set you on this path. What was the turning point for you? Was there a breakdown or a come to Jesus moment that pushed you from consulting actuary? I don't even know what that is. To fearless
Right.
coach. Yeah. To fearless.
Right. No one knows what it is. And it took me 8 years to qualify. Took me 8 years to qualify as an actuary, and most people never make it all the way through. And I got there, and I realized, I went to the doctor and I said, I have a pain in my belly. And he said, I think you have stress. I said, no, I don't have stress. I have a pain in my belly. And I realized, it took a while, I realized I wasn't happy. I was successful, but I wasn't happy, and my marriage wasn't working well. And someone said, your wife should go and do this personal development course because she could really learn a lot about herself and stop doing what she's doing. That's going to work, right? Hey, go to this course. It's going to fix you. But the more I heard about the course, I thought, all right, let me give it a shot. And I was very cynical. I was raised in Australia, and we didn't believe in self-help, and it was just a bunch of mumbo jumbo and a bunch of weak-willed sheep following someone who's trying to get your money. That's what I thought it was. Thank God they were ready for me, Misha. They were ready for my cynicism. They were smart enough to handle my intelligence because I thought I could run rings around people. And they cracked my heart open. And I realized that making the world a better place was a real job. Some people actually did it and got paid to do it. And I quit my job and I started coach training. And I was like, I want to do what they did to me. They showed me a new way. They showed me how to be vulnerable, how to be truly intimate, how to be authentic and take a risk to be myself. They taught me about integrity. And I'm like, I am hooked on this stuff. So the last 25 years have been about catching up on the things I didn't get as a kid and not just bringing my left brain to the game, but the right brain and the heart. So I guess that was the come to Jesus moment.
That's beautiful. I know people are listening to this, maybe not so many of my audience. I love I hated it at the time when I hit that bottom and the only option was open your heart, all those things you said. Um that are horrifying to the male ego,
Yes,
right?
particularly the Australian or British male. Yes.
But once you lean into that and really dive in and learn how to process those emotions and really open your heart. I know that's thrown around a lot these days, but it's
Oh,
such a
it's
powerful place to look up.
everything.
Go ahead. Yeah.
There's no other game in town. There really isn't. Once you've had a taste of like for me as a kid growing up, like 18, 19, the most intimacy came from having a few beers with your mates at the pub. And, at 1 a.m., you'd be like, I love you, man. Right. That was the closest we got. Or you watch a movie and maybe you shed a tear because you see intimacy that's happening there. At least that was my experience. Once you actually see models of people opening up and still having the masculine, but an open heart, there's nothing better for me. So I haven't lost all the left brain stuff with business, numbers, systems, and money. I still love that stuff. And I think that's why people come to me, because you can go to a lot of business coaches and get really good business coaching. Or you can go to a life coach or a therapist and talk about the emotional side and whatnot. But the nicest thing a client ever said about me was, it feels more like I've hired Yoda than a business coach. And I said, thank you, because I like to look at the whole person's life. And sometimes in a session, there might be tears. Occasionally, they could be mine. I might be moved by what's happening. And no one signs up for that when they come. They sign up for the money and the time off and the business coaching. But sometimes they say, I chose you because I wanted the whole picture. And I sense that as a man, I could actually learn to be a bit more emotionally available, a bit more vulnerable, a bit more authentic. And I kind of want a bit of that too.
Yeah, I think there's some momentum in that direction for a lot of men where maybe there wasn't 10, 20 years ago. Seems to be more attractive or more socially acceptable. And
Yep.
maybe that's, yeah, maybe it's because I'm in that space myself, or I don't know.
No, you're right. It's shifting in our society. I think people like Brene Brown are giving us cover, giving us political cover now, and giving corporations cover to say this matters. Vulnerability is the new strength. And she's been able to, as an academic, she's been able to bring data and bring studies. So now corporations can say, oh, we need to be more real. We need to speak the truth more often, and feelings matter. We don't want to just be, because corporation is still very masculine dominated. And from this old patriarchy of feelings are not important, we want production cycles and like that. And now it's like, well, hang on. If we treat people as real people, they're going to want to come to work and they're going to want to follow their manager and they're going to want to step up and they're going to want to produce. So I think society is shifting. And I know women in particular at least the ones I know, they want a masculine man for sure, but they want a man who's in touch with his heart.
Yeah, that's such a powerful place to work from. When you had that hit bottom moment that set you on this coaching, serving course, did you lose that first wife? Was that part of the hitting bottom moment or?
Oh, that that was in the mix. I don't know how much that impacted it. I was definitely going through hell, and it got worse as I was doing the training. We were going further and further apart, and um, I didn't know about boundaries. I didn't know about saying this is not okay. In fact, I had a therapist say to me, David, where do you draw the line? Because I said, I'm married. I can't leave. I have to make this work. And she said, yeah, I get that. But where do you draw the line? And I swear to God, Misha, my response was, line? What? What line? I had no concept of a line that I could say, this is okay and this is not okay. And when I finally went to I like to call her my former wife, when I went to her and said, look, you need to do what you need to do. I don't understand it, but okay. But some of what you're doing is not working for me. And if it keeps going, I'm going to have to go. She cried and said, thank God you're finally not trying to control me and you're just being responsible. And that was 1997. And last month, she just came and stayed with me for a few days, and I introduced her to my friends. And her son calls me Uncle David. And so I like to say I'm happily divorced to a wonderful woman. And without all the training I got, there's no way I could have come back to friendship with her after the hell we both went through. And it's one of the things I'm most proud of is being friends and loving this dear woman who's no longer appropriate as a partner for me.
Devo, paint us a picture of the person you're on a mission to help. Who's your ideal client? Who out there listening is thinking, that's me. Maybe it's the high performing entrepreneur. You mentioned the monkey mind on crack person
Right.
chasing shiny objects. Who do you love to coach? Who gets the biggest results from your focused growth
Oh,
approach?
I love that. I love that question. And it's classic marketing 101, right? You got to work out your avatar. Um, Business owner, they're already successful. They've got money on the board. They've got revenue coming in. They've got a great product or a service. So they're doing well. They're growing already. And they're feeling scattered. They know they're leaving money on the table. They know they've probably got a little bit of shiny object syndrome. They're trying to handle so many things. They've got so many hats and they're feeling a bit overloaded. They've probably done a bit of personal growth. They're interested in it. They care about it, but they haven't done 20 years of deep work. So there's a lot I can share. And they want to move. They want to do two things. They want to achieve results faster, but they'd like to do it more peacefully. And I'm great for that kind of a person. So the revenue, but the target revenue is usually you're making at least $250,000 up to the most I've done is 20 million a year. So I've handled quite a range, but you're the boss, you run your own show. And having said that, that's my target market. But I've had a lot of people reach out saying, I'm not there yet. You know, I got money on the board. I've got a really good business. I'm making money, but I'm not quite there. And I can't afford, your fee. And I finally realized I'm happy to work with those people. I'm not marketing for them and I'm not aiming for them, but if I've got the space, I'm happy to do it. And I wouldn't want you to pay my full fee. If you're not earning over $250,000, I don't think you should be. I charge $2,000 a month. And that's pretty cheap for someone who's got over $250,000 in revenue, regardless of what your profit margin is. But if you're not earning that, I don't think you should be paying $2,000 to a coach. You should be, using your money more carefully. So what I do for those people is I offer a sliding scale sometimes. And I I was going to do it at the end of the call, but I'll mention it now. If people go to that quiz, which is focus.ceo/quiz, and they want to fill in the assessment, and you decide you're interested in coaching, then continue to the next step. But just mention Misha and sliding scale in the notes. And I'll know that if we do decide we want to work together, it's not going to be my regular fee of 2,000. Instead, it'll be something between 2,000 and I've gone as low as 300 sometimes for a couple of charities that need help, but they can't afford that. So there's my avatar. And then I often work with people who aren't there yet.
We're simpatico as we're going through this, or on the same page, because I literally, before you said you were going to offer a sliding scale or go to focus.ceo/quiz, I was writing it down to send people there. So we're thinking the same way. I love it. This is super fun. Again, focus.ceo/quiz. You can do take the quiz and mention Misha / sliding scale in the notes. And if you're revenue challenged or you're trying to be fiscally responsible, Dava will work with you in that regard. I know that I have joined high-end coaching groups that I wish they'd have done a better job vetting me for the time that I came in, because it can feel like a money grab. And although they're serving at a high level, it's like I wasn't ready yet, or I wasn't at that spot, And so I think that is a disservice that some people do. So I appreciate your flexibility in that regard.
Thank you. And it's a reason I don't work with startups, or rarely I work with startups, because you don't know yet if you're going to make money. 80% of new ventures fail. So unless you've got a track record and you've got some funding, I don't want to take 2,000 a month from you. And, we kind of kick the tires. That's indulgent. I would say, go and get a coach for 500 a month and get it up. And once you're really kicking, then see if you can work your way up and get more experienced coaches. Thank you for acknowledging that. I appreciate it. I want people to get value. The idea of like coaching someone and they don't get anything from me, I don't want to take their money, which is also why I screen people, because on that first call, I'll get a sense of, are these people going to succeed? Is this working out? If I get the sense, it doesn't happen often, but sometimes someone, maybe they're not coachable. They're not actually going to listen. Or maybe, they're in debt and they're not really making a profit. Well, I could probably turn you around, but that's not my specialty. My specialty is taking what's going well and we're going to make it better. So I said no to people, because it's like, I'm not going to take your money and show up. I don't need the money that much to do that. And I want happy, successful people who are telling everyone, go and work with this guy. So I think it behooves, and I rarely get to use that word, it behooves a lot of business owners to screen their customers and make sure you just get the ones that are going to be happy.
Yeah. Let's get real about what holds potential clients for you back. You and I know even high achievers have their doubts. They have their excuses. What's the biggest reason someone might hesitate to work with you or to embrace this focus first philosophy? Is it external stuff? Yeah. Is it like time, money, or is it like fear of change, fear of facing the tough truths, or?
Yeah, I love that question. And things are loading up in my brain as you say it. So one, they might be like, oh, I can't afford it. I got to put it all into my business. And the reframe I'd suggest is you just look at it as an investment. Is it going to pay off? Is 2,000 a month likely to increase my revenue enough? And maybe not overnight, but after 3 or 4 months of coaching and applying this, plus you got to factor in whatever we do in the first 3 to 6 months should bear dividends for the next 3 years, because we're going to change some of your systems, maybe your marketing, maybe your branding. That stuff's going to pay off way past when I'm gone. So I think that's one, like, people might see it as an expense rather than investment. And I'd say, look at it as investment and see if it's got ROI. If it doesn't, don't do it. The second one might be time. I'm too busy to work with a coach. I would say then you absolutely should be working with me. If you can't take, I do laser sessions. So I do 30-minute calls 3 times a month. That's how much time I spend with you on the phone. I actually have you coach yourself first, because I don't want to waste your time or mine with 20 minutes of finding out where you're at this week. You coach yourself first, and then I read through it and I'm up to speed, and I already know what you did that you said you were going to do, what you didn't do that you said you were going to do, what you've committed to for the next 7 days. So you coach yourself, what's bothering you, and then what you want to use this session for. And then we go bam, bam, bam. So if you think you can't find 30 minutes a week, you've definitely got a problem. And maybe you are not the right person for me, because that's a little too chaotic. The third one might be the mindset, I should be able to do it all myself. And I think our American culture, and I say our because I'm now a US citizen, I have dual citizenship. American culture has done us a disservice with the idea that if you build a railroad single-handed, you're a hero. But if you do it with a committee of 100 people or a consortium, then, oh, what's that? That's, you got to do it on your own. Yeah, bullshit. I call bullshit. In fact, everybody who comes to me has already shown that they can be successful. You can't get in the door without showing that you can generate success. It's more about the speed of success and how you do it. Are you doing it joyfully? Bill Gates, I don't think that guy needs a coach. You could say, the top golfers and tennis players in the world, they've already gotten there now, so they could stop using a coach. But they want to be better, and they want to be better faster. Bill Gates wants to learn bridge, he gets a coach. I want to learn StarCraft, this video game, I go and get myself a coach. I want to learn pickleball, I want to learn it faster than everyone else. Get a coach. So I think if your ego can let you say, you know what, I'm intelligent, I'm successful, I want to hire a second brain, and I want to spot the things I'm not spotting. I even don't think my coaching's enough. I think I need more. So if I'm coaching you, Mish, I'm working on an app now that will have the AI track our sessions in real time and provide suggestions that I might be missing. What if there's a theme over the last 5 sessions that I haven't spotted? What if there are 3 actions that would change your life that I didn't think of? I think even the coach needs a coach. So 2 weeks from now, if you do work with me, you're not going to just get me. You're going to get me, and you're going to get Whisper Coach as well, which is like keeping an eye out for all the stuff that I miss. Uber coaching.
Whisper Coach. What a great name.
Thank
Uber.
you.
Yeah, Uber coaching. I'm thinking too of, there's the direct ROI. I spend $2,000 a month and I get $6,000 a month in return, or $20,000 a month in return, because my systems are better, because I'm more efficient with my time, because whatever that thing is that you help that person do, and having them do it, and then it's enjoyable and fun. So I'm thinking about there, that's great, but then I'm also thinking about the fact that you turn their business from painful to fun. There's that. Well, what's the ROI on that? I'm suffering in my business and now I'm having fun with my business. Or even if it doesn't give them a positive cash flow ROI, let's say it's break even, but they get 5 extra hours a week to golf or play pickleball or go learn how to cook or whatever it is. There's those kinds of things. And then I'm also just thinking, you're probably, which actually brings me to my next question, which I'll get to quickly. is the idea that you're probably helping salvage relationships or bring relationships from the brink or rekindling, you know, relationship parents with their kids, right? The busy
Oh,
business
Misha,
owner. Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
like it's one of my favorite things. Like the reason I actually do this is not to help people make more money. That's not what gets me out of bed and has me coach. The reason I do it is for those sessions like last week when I had a client who all of his conversations with his kid, his teenager, were yelling because he gets so angry and gets triggered and yells at him. I don't care what you think. You got to do this. And his kids totaled the car 3 times in 2 years. 3 times in 2 years. So he's not long for this planet if things keep going, right? And his dad's got no relationship with him other than yelling. We went through a role play and I gave him a new way of accessing a conversation with his kid. And he got this revelation that his kid needs a voice. He wasn't allowing him his own agency, his own voice. And he went and spoke from the heart for the first time in years and told him, I am terrified that I'm going to lose you. So we have to do something. We can't just say this is someone else's fault anymore. You've had 5 accidents, 3 totals, and I'm terrified. So with love, I'm going to yank your license unless you do a safe driving course. And he had a conversation unlike anyone he'd ever had and came back to me and he said, went really well. He yelled for a little bit and then he said, okay, fair enough. And he said, we worked it out together, the way we were going to handle it. And I'm like, this is why I coach. It's for those moments. When someone says, look, I got record sales, I love it. I like seeing them happy, but it's the things that are keeping them up at night, the things that are stopping them from really enjoying life. And they have that breakthrough like you see in a movie. I'm like, that's why I do it.
So good. Any other
Yeah.
favorite stories out there? Transformation and cash flow or
Well, the other one that happened maybe 3 weeks ago, I think I alluded to it earlier, was a client who was so weighed down by making all these medical decisions for his dad. His dad's got dementia, and he's the oldest sibling, so he's making all the decisions for the family, and he's like, I just hate it, and I wish I didn't have to do this. And because I'm not plugged into it, I could see a whole other possibility. And something came out of my mouth because I'm often intuitive. And I just said, if this was a movie and you were the lead character, what would probably happen about now? And it just started his mind opening up. And by the end of that session, I had him, and this was on the phone, I had him standing up, breathing into his chest, standing taller, and choosing to make these decisions for his dad as an act of love because he loves his dad and his dad looked after him for 55 years. And he left that call feeling blessed that he gets to play this role for his dad. And I was crying and he was crying. And it was beautiful. So that just happened. And he's such a different man to who he was before. It's not easy, but he's choosing it now and he feels honored to be able to do it.
it's good. I want to shift gears into some offbeat and insightful questions, a mix of fun, quirky, useful
Yes, and
nuggets.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry I do need to go in a few minutes, so I will try and be lasered in my answers.
Okay, well, good. You know what? I'm going to skip to the rapid fire round. Ready?
We'll see.
What's one thing that scares you right now?
Scares me right now. Um, Loud noises. I'm actually noise sensitive and I get anxious, so I'm literally scared of noises and anxiety.
Anything existential? Any existential fears?
No. No, I'm having a good
Nice.
time.
I love it. Name one skill or hobby you're embarrassingly bad at.
Well, I'm disappointingly bad at singing.
Pickleball or chess? You have to pick one passion to keep and one to drop. Which do you keep?
Oh, pickleball over almost anything in my life.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Ha 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 ha. Yeah, I was gonna say neither. You know, during the day is my best time, but I- yeah, I enjoy staying up later than I do getting up.
That's good. Two questions, and then I'll let you go. What's a truth about yourself on your journey that you've been hesitant to share publicly before?
Truth about myself. Well, I'm often hesitant to share about anxiety and depression and my journey with that. I still do it because I want it. I'm hoping it'll serve people, but I seem like I've got it all together, and I don't want people to really ever get that impression because I've struggled and I still struggle with energy, sleep. Um, I'm the most Virgo person you'll ever know, and I've got PTSD, and sometimes, not the last few weeks or months, but sometimes life is very hard for me. And January, I was in bed smoking weed and playing video games for a few weeks. This life was really tough, and I had to find a way to get out of that. So I just want to blow that conception. If people are like, oh, this guy's got everything nailed, he's successful at everything. I eventually find success at pretty much everything, but doesn't mean I'm not way down there in the hole with you. Um, yeah.
Good. That's good. That's a good one. Thank you for that. Before we wrap up, let's do a quick flashback. Earlier, you shared about a pivotal moment in your life, that big emotional breakthrough when everything changed. Imagine current you could go back and coach past you in that moment. If you had the tools, perspective, or maybe the focus quiz and tough conversation skills you teach now, what would you tell old David at that critical juncture?
Well, I'm going to pick a different moment because that moment didn't feel that critical to me when it happened. But a critical moment for me was when my sister died, and I was there and witnessed the accident. Um, and if I could go back, and I wish I could go back and talk to younger David, I would say, this is going to hurt, and it's okay to cry. It's going to take some time. Um, yeah, I wish it's going to be absolutely fine, and it's okay to miss her, and it's okay to be upset. Cry as much as you want for the rest of your life. I would have said that.
I love that. Thank you for that. Yeah, so good. David, this has been raw and awesome. For those listening who are fired up and want more, where can people connect with you? And I know we've mentioned that free quiz a few times.
I'd
Yeah.
say go there. I've got a lot of free stuff on my site. You're welcome to it. Um, Focus.ceo is my site. If you put /quiz after it, it's a shortcut to take you to the assessment. Even whether you want to work with me or not, I invite you to invest 10 minutes in answering the question so you get clear. And then if you want me to review your results and discuss coaching with you, you can schedule a 15-minute call with me, and I will have your answers, and we'll have a quick conversation. I can usually find out in 15 minutes if it's got legs for us to work together and if I can help you. And if not, God bless. And if it can, we'll schedule a longer call to work out exactly how I can help you. And we might leave that call with a coaching structure for you.
Awesome. And that's a wrap on this power packed episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. Huge thanks to Davo, aka David Ian Wood, for bringing the goods, the vulnerability, the laughs, and the game changing insights. If this episode sparked something in you, don't keep it a secret. Share it with someone who needs to hear these truths about focus and growth. And definitely check out David's free quiz at focus.ceo/quiz to put this inspiration into action. Until next time,
Yeah.
stay focused.
And a plug for Misha. I want to say, guys, it's a lot of work to create a podcast. I know because I set up two. So if you just want to send Misha a little thank you, hey, I appreciate your work, go and rate the podcast on the iTunes store and just put a couple of lines in there about what you enjoyed about it. It makes a difference. And it's a way of telling Misha, thanks for that work and keep it going.
Dave, thank you for that plug. Very much appreciated. Until next time, everybody stay focused, stay bold, and let's go speak on some podcasts. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.